Get a nice big piece. And look at that. Today, I'm going to show you how to make angel food cake. Oh yeah. Preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 176 Celsius. Now I have 1 3/4 cup of white granulated sugar, and I'm going to put this in my food processor. If you can buy super fine sugar or caster sugar, then just use that and you can skip this step. But we want to use granulated sugar and turn it into super fine sugar, but we're not using powdered sugar for this, okay? Alright, it only takes about a minute or so. And now I want to take about a cup of this fine sugar. Okay, that's pretty good. It doesn't have to be exact. I'm going to set this aside, and then we're going to come back to the food processor. In the food processor, I'm going to add 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and that's going to balance out the sweetness in the cake. And then I'm going to add 1 cup of cake flour. Now you can use all-purpose flour, but I really recommend using cake flour if you can find it. All right, now I'm just going to pulse this just for like 20-30 seconds. There we go, fantastic. All right, and now I'm just going to transfer it to this bowl. All right, and now I take a large bowl, or if you have a stand mixer, you're going to use your mixer bowl. And then I have 1.5 cups of only egg whites. And I've set these out at room temperature for about 30 minutes. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here with my hand mixer, or if you have a stand mixer, then you'll use that. And let's just beat this until it gets frothy. Also, before I move on, make sure that there is no egg yolk at all inside of your egg whites. It needs to just be pure egg whites with no egg yolk. Okay, we got this frothy, and now I'm going to add in cream of tartar. Now, the cream of tartar is pretty important because it helps stabilize the egg whites, but if you absolutely can't find it at the store, you should just be able to find it in the spice aisle. If you can't find it at all, then you can leave it out. And I have just a little bit of almond extract, and then 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. All right, and now let's start beating this. All right, after a couple of minutes of beating the eggs, they will have probably doubled, maybe even tripled in volume. Not quite at soft peaks yet. What we're going to do is we're going to take our super fine sugar that's left over, about a cup, and we're going to add it about a tablespoon at a time, waiting after it mixes for about 15 seconds in between each scoop. That way the sugar gets kind of dissolved in with the egg whites. You can also just hold the cup and then just kind of shake some in about a tablespoon at a time. You don't have to use a spoon. Okay, and then we're going to keep beating this until we get soft peaks. So like right now, this just drains off like it's not there yet. All right, there we go. See how that little peak right there just barely curls over? That's what we mean when we say soft peaks. Just give it a little taparoo. Another test that you can do is you can just grab some of it and run it through your fingers, and as long as you don't feel any gritty sugar, then you're good to go also. And now it's time to fold in our flour and sugar mixture and salt. Again, we're just going to fold it in. We're not going to stir. If you stir it, you're liable to break up all that nice air that you just caught, or that you just got. And so I'm just going to do about 1/3 of it. And then take my spatula, just go underneath it like this. Just fold it. Okay. All right, so you just fold until when you fold, you don't see any more flour mixture, okay? And kind of go through the middle and fold up. And as long as you don't see any flour, dry flour, you're good to go. And now comes the pan. You have to use a tube pan or angel food cake pan. A bundt cake pan just won't really work. And this particular one from Wilton has a removable bottom. That's very common. You don't grease this at all because the angel food cake, as it bakes, it's going to climb up this kind of sticky or whatever sides of the pan, and that's essential. So do not grease your pan. And so we're going to just put some in here. I'm going to try to not to get it all over the sides. And just come in here and we're going to spread it out. And then come in with like a butter knife and we're going to just kind of twirl around it, zigzagging. And this is just going to make sure that there's no air pockets and that it all just settles nicely. And now into the oven it goes, again 350 Fahrenheit, 176 Celsius. And we are going to bake this for 35 to 45 minutes. Check it at 35. And then when you push on it and it springs back, or if you poke it with like a bamboo skewer and it comes out clean, it's ready to go. And it'll get all nice and golden brown on top. And when it comes out of the oven, it'll look like this, nice and golden brown on the top. It probably will have some cracks in it, but don't worry about that. That's very normal. All right, so I just have a small glass that has kind of a wide bottom to it. And then I just flip this over. And then we are going to flip the cake pan over and set it right there, like that. And then we'll let it sit here for 1 hour to 2 hours so it can cool completely. Kind of weird, I know, but if you don't let it cool this way, then it's liable to collapse on you, and we don't want that, okay? And then after it has cooled, you can flip it over. And now take like a cake spatula or a knife and run it along the edge of the cake to loosen it. And then I have a thinner one, or you can like use a butter knife, go around the edge like that, and then we should be able to pull this thing up. You can push it on the bottom. Yeah, look at that. Awesome. And then you can just run this along the bottom. Okay. And then I'm going to take a cake pedestal. And then we will just turn it over. Boom. Amazing. There we go. Pretty awesome. And now time to cut into it. And I usually use my bread knife or another serrated knife. And so it just cuts it a lot easier. Get a nice big piece. And look at that. So awesome. And then I'll add some fresh fruit. A lot of times, most of the time, I'll slice up the strawberries and then add a couple tablespoons of sugar to them and just let them sit for a while. And it makes a nice little strawberry topping. Or you could also just do powdered sugar and then whipped cream. A lot of different ways that you can serve it. My favorite way is with whipped cream and strawberries. Awesome. Take care. Time for me to dive into this. Now this time I'm just gonna pick it up and take a bite. Oh yeah. So light and fluffy, absolutely delicious.